What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of the Overview, a podcast and talk show all about our favorite game, Overwatch, right now. I'm ChanManV, joined, of course...
you had to think for a second. What's my favorite game? Oh, Overwatch. Love it.
Come on, man.
Can't wait to talk about some Overwatch.
Man. But joined, of course, by Ster and Jerma. And we have our guest this week. He's a writer for Daily Dot, as well as a player. You probably know him better as a player, and currently a member of one of the best NA Overwatch teams right now, Not Enigma. I want to welcome oPlaiD to the Overview. Welcome, man.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, really excited to get a chance to have you on here to discuss a lot of the things we've been talking about, or at least we started to talk about last week, since you're kind of this dual, you're a writer, so you have like more of a general perspective, I think, of the scene, as well as a player, just having just in-depth knowledge of the game. So really cool to have you, man.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm not sure how long I can continue doing both of those things at once, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, so why don't we kick things off, talk about I guess a lot of the events that were happening this week. There were
a lot of events.
Yeah, there were a lot of events this week.
I don't even think I could name them all.
Well, I'll name some.
You probably still won't name them all.
I probably won't. Yeah, I mean, there's Ghosty Gamers obviously started their weekly tourneys. I think Joshy did Kings of the Watch. Actually, both of those, which oPlaiD here actually got a chance to play in both of them, and then AlphaCast, ESL did their AlphaCast number 2. Yesterday. 2 of them were happening at the same time. The Ghosty Gamers weekly tourney and the AlphaCast, one being NA tournament, one being EU, but that was probably not very smart scheduling wise, because
well, AlphaCast is EU, isn't it? So
yeah, it was, but still, it's like I was kind of keeping an eye on both, but it was hard to do that.
I feel like there was at least one other one that I can't.
Well, there was supposed to be one after Kings of the Watch on Saturday, and like we actually scheduled that like really early in the day for that tournament, but like no one signed up for it, I guess, and it didn't happen, as far as I know. So I don't know.
I feel like people are going to get spread thin pretty quickly with Ghosty Gamers doing a weekly thing. It makes it hard for anyone else to say, "Well, I'm also going to have a tournament."
I mean, it's easy for anyone to have a tournament where people would sign up for. Ghosty Gamers is having like a $120 prize pool, which is better than the free ones. And a lot of people are hosting free ones right now. So that's kind of like, anyone can do that basically. So that's one reason why there's like so many, I guess. But
yeah, let's definitely talk about just kind of the landscape of the events. But before that, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on playing in those events, because you got a chance to play in both of them. And you actually faced Hubris in 2 of them too, so that's kind of the arch rival for Not Enigma at this point in the NA scene. How did both of them go for you guys?
Not very well. We lost to Hubris.
How were the matches? I guess
it was fun. They were all really close games. If you watched them, like the King of the Watch was an interesting format. I'm interested to see like your guys' thoughts on what the format. But we played 3 best of 3s on 3 different maps. Basically, it was a best of 3 of best of 3s. So the point is where you like play a best of 3 on one map where there's more time to make adjustments in between each round of a map. You can't like use one cheese strat and just win a map outright, things like that. Because there's a lot of like random things that can happen that kind of like, you might get an extra 3 minutes or something off of making like one really good play, or you land a couple extra headshots or something like that. So I think that a format like that kind of like mitigates that. And I thought it was really interesting games. Like we played Hubris on Dorado, the first map, I think, and we lost the first game, but we won the next 2 and beat them 2-1. And then we played, I forget what we played. I think we played Hollywood. Yeah, we played Hollywood, and we traded games. They won the first one. We won the second one. They won the third one. Like I think the second one we came up with a slightly different like hold on the first point, and we ended up holding them completely on that first point. Then they literally copied like our whole hold we did on the next thing, and we just wiped them like right away and capped it, which was interesting because there's like little adjustments like that we were making like in between those rounds, which was fun, I thought. But I don't know if like people watching it, like could really catch up on that. I don't think the commentators really did. It's hard to tell.
I missed everything this week.
Yeah.
I did not see
due to Turkey.
Well,
Thanksgiving week.
It wasn't
over.
Had lots to do this last few days at least.
No, I caught it. I actually like the format. I think the format's definitely the best one that we've had so far. Did the casters explain it? I mean, they did like at the very beginning, but I think it would have been better just to keep reiterating what was going on and a little bit more than they did. But yeah, generally, I think that's definitely good. The more adjustments you guys can make, the more games and matches you guys play to determine an outcome, I think is going to be the best.
I mean, like one attack defend is like 20 minutes max, basically. I mean, I guess it can go a little higher with overtime, but usually it's like going to be 15 to 25 minutes. So if you play like a best of 3 of that, that's basically an hour-long match, which is like the length of a Counter-Strike match or a League of Legends match or like a TF2 match. Yeah. So I think like a best of 3 on one map is pretty reasonable for like a match length.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely like the format, but I'm biased because I'm the one who like suggested that to the people who put on.
Of course.
So.
You mentioned switching around a lot, and I just want to get your personal opinion on it. Like, how often do you find yourself switching characters?
I don't switch characters almost ever.
Right.
Because I'm playing support on Lucio, and he's so good. Like, there's right now, pretty much you're always running Lucio, Mercy, and Reinhardt, and then recently we've all just been running Pharah, especially after the patch where they like nerfed McCree and Widow, and there's not many ways to like deal with Pharah right now. I mean, part of that might be because we just haven't figured out the ways that are available to doing with that, and another part of it is some of the ways that might be available we're not practiced enough to actually use them yet, which is something I feel like a lot of people on Reddit might not understand about this. Like, even if we've been playing like 24/7, it's not like you can master even close to any of the things you can do in the game yet. So but I don't know, there's not much variety, especially in the support role, and Reinhardt seems very strong in all phases of the game, except for maybe there's a couple points where you might not want him, but it's a little iffy to not have him. He's so good at standing in the cart.
Kind of a god.
Yeah. It's like even if he's not shielding anyone with the shield, he's just so good on being on the cart where it's just like you can use him anyway. So,
but you find Lucio is actually useful like that often. I've played him one day. I hate Lucio so.
Lucio's really good.
Well, his armor's amazing.
He's weird because like you don't notice the impact he makes a lot of the time because like you're just healing passively. Right. Like you have a healing aura and a speed aura, and you don't get to see the results that those have on everyone else on your team, like visually. And at the end of the game, you have like 9,000 healing, and it's like, oh, well, that's probably pretty useful,
Player of the game, Lucio healer.
Yeah, and the thing with Lucio is like you do a lot of damage like as a support. Like you can really DM a lot of people. Yeah. You're very hard to kill. You can use your knockback to like prevent their harass players from killing your Mercy or something, or getting on your Reinhardt, or creating space for the rest of your team. There's all sorts of things you can do with him. He's also mobile in that he can like get on Z-axis places. I think there's a lot of ways you can get up things that a lot of people haven't figured out yet that make it even easier for him to like move around the map. So you can,
Skating's pretty weird the way you can just like go up a pillar forever.
Yeah, you can kind of just like if there's like a corner in a wall, you can kind of just jump from side to side and like get up there. And it's a little awkward, but once people practice it more, it'll become more second nature and easy. It is easy on a lot of maps to get up to a lot of places already. But his ult is also extremely. It's really awkward, but it's very powerful in the right situations where it's kind of like a lot of people like in the video when they like released Lucio, they used it as like this offensive ult where you like use it and go in, but it's probably better as like a counter ult where they go in on you and you use it to counter engage, because that basically stops whatever they're trying to do since it decays. So if you use it to go and attack, like the shield's just decaying as you're going in, so it's kind of like you're wasting a lot of benefit from it. But
think about that. That's true. Like it does decay, so you might even be losing half of the benefit of doing the ult in the first place if you use it to attack.
Yeah. I mean, you can use it to do that, but you want to save it a little longer. But then there's so many things that one-shot you in the game with like headshots and stuff. It's like really risky. So a lot of times it's better just to use it to like save your Mercy or something like that. Or, you can save it for when they Zarya black hole or something like that. But even then it's like risky because if they just have a Pharaoh, that'll still like wipe you when you have the Lucio shield on. So that's one reason why Mercy is so powerful. But yeah, I mean, Lucio is incredibly powerful like in all phases of the game. I think actually right now, he's almost more used than Mercy is, because some of these teams are running these weird double Lucio comps on the first points of some maps. And I don't think that, I'm not sure that, like, we haven't done that, and I don't think we like that. I'm not sure that that's like the best way to do it, but it works for some teams right now, so it's hard to.
Is it just that that rush tactic, or is it for
the double Lucio?
Yeah, or is it more
mostly like so? Like Hubris always runs double Lucio right now, attacking
right.
King's Row first. I think they might do it if we played more 2 CP maps or something. They might do it on those as well. Because basically you get a lot of. It's hard to judge like how valuable it is unless you use it, because you get like the speed boost and the healing boost at the same time, and like the speed boost actually gives you a lot of like DM power. And I like to do these things where they like boost in McCree and he just runs in and stuns someone. You literally can't like run away.
Yeah, I don't think we're seeing enough of
die instantly.
Boost
Yeah,
like even early on in the bid, I had someone like the only person on Lucio who ever decided to communicate in the pub was telling me to we would speed boost in me on Roadhog and just push everyone. You could just run everybody to the other side of the map. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was fun when me and you
did a lot of that.
I mean, I think Hubris is the only team that's really using that well right now. They just like speed boost McCree and they'll give him a Zarya shield or something. He could just run through the Reinhardt shield, stun him, and kill him instantly. And it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of frustrating in terms of like what you can do against that, because even if you counter speed boost, like the Reinhardt can't really back out. He's just kind of a sitting duck. So maybe that's one way to like counter Reinhardt, which is kind of what they did to us. I think some of the times they beat us is they were getting kind of dumpstered by Mezzer, and like last week when we played them.
In a lot of cases, I see his speed boost as even better than the heal, because with the heal, you're healing damage. With the speed boost, you might have the other team just miss all over the place because the speed boost is just so odd to deal with.
I mean, that's one of the advantages of having like a double Lucio, is you have both of those things at once, and you can
you can stack them too, like whenever you need to.
That's crazy.
So AlphaCast obviously was going on at the same time, and obviously that's the EU region. Are you seeing any different meta over there? Have you been able to catch those matches like with Fnatic and
I mean, there's definitely like a different meta. I don't know if it's like a better meta. I mean, we've actually scrimmed Fnatic fairly regularly over the past week or two on the European server, and I mean we do really well against them usually. They like to do a lot of things where like they're right now they're running more Tracer, they're running more Genji. I think Melty uses Genji a lot.
That's right.
They do things like that, and it's like right now that I feel like they're more like DM oriented almost in some ways, where it's like the game's chaotic and they're around the map like DMing you and stuff like that, which is kind of difficult to play against sometimes when we have the higher ping, but it's interesting. It's fun. It's definitely fun playing against them. So it's hard to really tell like what's better or who's better, or if like they have the right meta or not. I think a lot of things it's hard for us to tell too in NA, because it's like, I think I've heard one of my friends said like they've been watching streams and all these teams are running Hanzo now because like we had Siegel running Hanzo in scrims, and it's like that's not really a thing. Like he's just doing it because it's fun and like he wants to try it. It's like not like we don't think it's good, but he's just doing it, and like we can beat all these teams with it because we're better than them basically. And it's like Hubris is the only team where we really have to, I guess, pull out all the stops right now to try and figure out how to beat them. So it's hard to like actually decide a meta, because I feel like we can run things that are wrong or suboptimal and still beat a lot of teams right now. So people are reading into that right now, but that's the only basis of comparison they have, so it's not surprising. But it's like everything's still so up in the air.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are good that even if there was a meta, it's not like, oh, we could run these like the devs have been doing a lot of the double Zarya. It's not like that's wrong, because they can make that work really well.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of room for exploration.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Nice adventures.
I mean, this is still like just the very beginning. So we alluded to just the events, or at least you were talking about just the events and having too many. I guess you were starting to talk about. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? Just I kind of let you finish on that.
Too many events. It's not an actual problem. It's just a problem that'll get sorted out by the players when they all start to say, like, right now Gosu Gamers is the only one with a prize pool, so the free events like Fish Sticks tournament are going to be much harder to run just because everyone's busy. They have to do the Gosu Gamers tournament, and if it's on a weekday, then who's going to sign up? It's just everyone's trying to fight to be the Overwatch tournament right now.
Yeah, I was talking to oPlaiD a little bit before.
Yeah, they want to be the casters. Everyone is starting to try and
It's a race. Yeah, and it's kind of a race from a branding standpoint.
Right now, Ghost Gamers is winning. So.
I mean, you can say it's a race, but you bring up like the Fish 6 tournament. He's just running one because no one else is running one that weekend. So it's like, well, we may as well have a tournament and play. And, you know, I don't know, like, some of these people aren't necessarily doing it to be that serious. It's just because no one was doing it before. I mean, now there's Ghost Gamers who I guess are going to do it regularly, but, you know, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's like that much of a competition yet, really. I mean, I think that the money involved might increase pretty quickly, where a lot of these people, it's not really a competition because someone can put up $5,000, you know, against these people who have like a couple hundred. It's like, well, you know, what are you going to play?
I mean,
the thing is,
a lot of tournaments, but that's the one that people would play in right now. So it doesn't really matter how many there are, because people are probably only going to sign up for one or two of them anyway.
Well, I mean
Hubris and us almost wanted to boycott the Ghost Gamers one because they didn't seed the tournament. We played each other in literally the first round.
That was ridiculous. Yeah,
and like they literally have a rankings on their website where they rank all of the teams in Overwatch. You know, we're the top 2 teams in NA on their rankings, yet they didn't seed the tournament. And like Hubris didn't even lose around, like no one even capped around on you know, one of their defenses the rest of the event. And, you know, we played like a close 3-1 series against them. So it's just like, you know, why?
Well, eventually you guys would have to play each other anyway. So I guess. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, it's like way more exciting to play in the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's also better not to play it like, you know, I don't know, we guys who woke up like literally half an hour before the match who hadn't warmed up, which, you know, didn't help in the first round.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we expect to play more rounds in the tournament. I don't want to like say that as an excuse. I mean, obviously, Keepers played better than us and beat us, you know, but it was frustrating for both our teams, I think.
So to the point of like you were making with some tournaments are going to have like thousands of dollars in prize, and that's kind of what I think people have been hearing that might be happening soon. The thing is that it's not. I don't even think it's smart to have tournaments that have like that kind of prize pool.
Well, no, not yet. Definitely not.
But I think people are going to start doing it just because, again, I feel like there's a race to become like this, you know, just the tournament, right? The tournament kind of circuit, or the weekly tournament that all the big teams will play, or all the viewers, right, are going to know it as this type of brand, right?
Getting a tournament early, even if you did for some reason want to give $5,000 to Hubris or not Enigma, which is pretty much what you're doing.
Yeah.
Moving forward, people would remember this one prestigious tournament, and I guess you could kind of have a series, like even thinking back to fighting games. What was it? I guess I don't remember. Holy shit, I don't remember. Never mind. Forget that whole point I was about to make.
Back to those fighting games.
Yeah, like a year from now, you could have the number 2 of that tournament. People would still remember it, and it would still have some sort of
They would, but once you establish a precedent, the thing is that you're establishing a precedent. When you come out with like a $5,000 tournament, then all of a sudden everything kind of raises, or at least the next time you do a tournament, you kind of have to do the same amount, or it looks kind of funny if you don't. So I think that's where
it's not like anyone's doing this. We could talk about it when someone decides.
I know.
Well, if somebody puts up $5,000 early.
Yeah.
It makes anybody else that wants to run a tournament like, I don't have $5,000. Do we still do it? I mean, I'll give you 200. Like, you know, you get 5,000, but maybe you come play ours. I don't like big money tournaments, especially like in a beta.
Yeah. Particularly this type of beta where there's not very many betas out there.
That's like the frustrating thing, though, right? Like there are people who want to host those tournaments probably right now. It's just that they won't because there's not enough people in the beta yet. And it's like Blizzard hasn't given a reasonable schedule in terms of like when people will be invited. Like they just had this big stress test weekend, and you know things ran generally well, right? So you think they'd be inviting more people this week, but it really hasn't happened so far. I don't think.
I don't know why that hasn't happened. Weird. There's no word on it at all. No beta test weekend.
Well, it seemed like everybody is taking a holiday. I think what happened with it's Thanksgiving, right? They don't want to have to rush and like if something goes wrong. And
they did cancel the Hearthstone wing.
That's right. I mean, the Hearthstone didn't even come out with their wing, so that's saying something.
And we didn't even get a chance to explore.
Explore
Ultimate. Actually, we already did. We explored Ultimate already.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I mean, hopefully we'll see some beta keys released or betas released this week. Because that'd be nice. I'm just a little bit worried about the pacing of it. I just don't want like organizers to try to like really ramp up all this stuff, prize money and things before the community is actually ready for it, because we need more players, man. We need more people that actually.
Well, like oPlaiD said, there's not enough people in the game right now. There are plenty of people that are extremely good players that don't even have access to this game yet, and they're just sitting there like,
yeah, and we need.
Wish I could play.
They're just sitting there seething right now that we're even talking about it. Like, I know
we need more teams too.
You need more teams. You need more players. You just
absolutely.
Blizzard, your open beta weekend, not open beta. You're more open.
Extended is the awesome word.
It went well.
Expanded.
Hopefully, it really does go open like very soon. I mean, I've heard all sorts of rumors about it doing it. You know,
will it though? Because it's
January or end of December. Who knows?
Really,
but,
that soon for open?
Yeah, like
wow.
I don't know. I don't. Sorry,
I don't know if it's gonna go open beta. I mean, for a pay game, you think they'd let?
I don't know. I mean, that is true.
Battlefront did it.
We'll see.
Yeah, but Battlefront did it for like 30 days, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't.
Not even. No, it was like.
Well, that's what I mean. I expected these weekends to be open eventually when they can build the servers up to that and not give people unlimited access to their, like you're saying, $40.
I mean, you can make it like Paladins, right? Where you buy the game and then you get the access or whatever.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, just the automatic, auto beta access.
I'm sure they'll do that as soon as like they can handle doing it.
Yeah, I think once the server stress testing is at least in a stable state, they'll be able to take on a lot. I mean, generally that's what happens with games, right? Like the initial, I think, load testing like is very sensitive, and you know they correct a lot of things. But once you get to a certain point, I think that's when you can just start adding a ton of people.
Someone's saying in chat, and I had heard this rumor as well, and I could not find the place where it was verified, but I do remember hearing it, that they said that the beta phase would end sometime in December, and it kind of left an implication that it might be down for like even a full month and like come back up in late January or something like that.
Really?
What? No, that'd be terrible.
I don't think that's
my God,
happen,
really?
A couple of people have been saying that. I can't remember. Like,
don't do that.
What? Okay.
don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Don't do that. Yeah.
You're watching this podcast right now. Don't do it.
That's pretty good advice.
Yeah. Having it go down for a month would be definitely.
Yeah, we'll have to see this.
Good way to kill the hype for the game.
Yeah, I would be surprised if that actually happens. I mean, that would be pretty shocking. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about meta. Anything that concerns you pertaining to the meta right now, oPlaiD, or just anything to do with just the characters, the dynamics?
No, what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, all right.
And I'm surprised you didn't bring it up when you're talking about the meta. D.Va is on like every team. D.Va is all over the place. I was seeing a lot of matches with double D.Vas up against double D.Vas, flying around, dogfights, flying everywhere every 10 seconds. Bombs going off.
The Euros don't use D.Va that much.
Yeah, they don't.
Oh, well, that's why they're not as good. Because they're not playing D.Va.
Could be.
So what's your opinion on D.Va right now?
I mean, I think D.Va is a little stupid when like at the spawn's so close. Like obviously you can see there's like a screenshot on Reddit from the Ghost of Gamers tournament when Hubers played us and they had like 5 D.Vas on last 100 Balter.
Yeah.
And it's like they literally can just fly out the spawn in one boost and get on the cart, and you can delay the cart for so long because you die and you're still contesting the cart, and then you're a little D.Va chick who has no hitbox, and like it's I don't know. I mean, it's ridiculous, but part of that is like the problems with their spawns being so close
and not being timed differently.
The spawns being timed differently, so when you die like one at a time, especially with D.Va, because you can delay dying so long. Keep having one person spawn to keep coming into contest. You don't have like a spawn wave where they killed 3 people and it's like now they have an advantage in a fight or something. Plus the spawn's so close, so like you can't class switch to react to the D.Va spam at all, because if you switch switch to something that you think will counter it, which it's kind of hard to figure out what that might be. Maybe another Reinhardt, or something. You still have to like run all the way across the map to get there or whatever. So, I mean, I think that's pretty big issue. I mean, I think D.Va probably might have some issues. She might need a small nerf, but I'm not sure she's like that dominant right now. I mean, her mobility is obviously like really, really amazing, and that's like so that's like would be an obvious thing to nerf for her, but that also is like so much of the fun of like playing her that I feel like they should change something else. Maybe make her a little less survivable, like in her mech form, something like that.
Well, there's the other thing too, where when she does get into the mech and you can still see her, but she doesn't have like a hitbox anymore, and you're damaging the mech instead of her.
Yeah.
You can't like prevent her from getting inside the mech. It's way too easy to just drop.
You can still kind of kill her sometimes. It's really awkward, like especially if you melee. Yeah. If you melee, you can like hit her for sure, but it's like it's.
Oh, as she's getting in, you can melee her.
I think so. I don't know. There might be like some frames before she starts walking into it that I'm not really sure.
It seems like just out of nowhere, like she's still climbing in. It just like she doesn't exist anymore. She's now the mech. You can't hurt her, which is a little unfortunate because she like you'd think she'd have to run somewhere safe and do it. She can just plop it down anywhere, and it actually deals damage and pushes people back when it comes down.
You can still destroy the mech while she's getting in like super fast in a lot of classes because it's just to headshot it down.
But in the chaos when there's like 4 of them. It's pretty.
On the card,
they're all getting in.
Right.
Who do you go for?
Funny to me that D.Va was the character everyone thought sucked, and now
you thought sucked.
I thought sucked, and I thought, why would you play D.Va when you could play Winston? And now no one plays Winston because Winston can't hurt D.Va.
Yeah. She didn't feel that powerful like when she was first released. Like her guns don't really feel like they do that much damage, but you can like really kill people because you can get on them like super close.
Can't get away ever.
You can't get away ever.
What would you do? You said besides mobility, what else could you do?
Like lower her health in the mech form or
or
something. Just like lower the armor. I don't know.
Yeah,
give her a little less armor. That would kind of make that wouldn't like make sense for like the I guess the fantasy of the character if you
the lore behind the character.
Yeah, if you like got rid of armor.
Change would definitely be her hitbox as she gets in, just to be able to kill her a little bit easier. But I don't think that would be enough. Like the cooldown on her dash is 6 seconds, which is very fast.
Yeah.
In terms of cooldown abilities.
Yeah,
she's everywhere.
She definitely can move.
Definitely nerf that a second or two, maybe. I mean, it would kind of I would just be annoyed like playing her if that happened because it's just so fun to like be able to dash around like that. But it might be reasonable. I always think it's interesting too because a lot of people thought that the ult was like the super powerful part of her kit, like when it first launched, right? And the ult is like really not at all. The ult is more like a way to get your mech suit back versus like actually like a powerful part.
Well, at the time, I don't think people realized
the heal basically
that it couldn't go through Reinhardt's shield and stuff because that's just like there's always a Reinhardt, and all he has to do is look at it for like a second and say, "Oh, it didn't do anything."
I mean, it's still a very frustrating ult because, like, I mean, I guess this happened to me more on, like, when I'm playing against Fnatic on EU servers, so I probably have, like, weird ping problems getting around corners, but, like, there's some walls that don't really block it fully, or, like, the payload blocks it, except sometimes it doesn't. Like, if it's, Gibraltar, there's, like, that little ramp on the very last part, and it's, like, if the mech's at the top of the ramp and you're behind the payload at the bottom, it can still, like, get you, I guess, under the payload or something, which is just super frustrating.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone described her ultimate as like, a great way to like you can drop it on the point and everyone have to leave and you win the game. Have you ever won a game because of D.Va's ultimate?
Well, it kills you too.
No, I don't think so.
Just kind of happens.
I mean, I think that there's probably ways that people haven't like abused it, right? Like if you could figure out timing to like launch the mech from a certain point where it's floating in the air and explodes like in the air somewhere or something. Or a lot of people don't use it where they launch the mech and then they have their team like push behind it because like those people that are running to hide should be vulnerable, right? To like getting mowed down by other people since they're just hiding behind or like not moving.
As D.Va, I usually follow
done
people.
Yet, so
even if I'm gonna die, because no one turns around to look at you, they're busy running. You can just follow someone and shoot them in the back. You usually die when it's fun. So
what if you could cook it?
What if
like?
You can just hold it.
I mean, that would be better, but you're talking about how you want to nerf her, right? So
not make her better.
That would be a lot better.
Yeah,
and then it would be like a suicide bomb though, because it's already kind of hard to like get away a lot of the time unless you like launch it.
If you like skee ball it like you can do with the dash.
Ski ball.
But what if your Reinhardt could like charge your mech that's exploding? Like he can charge.
You just push it into the right spot.
So, like you put it down and you just charge in with it. Yeah.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool.
Do that? Does that not work?
No, you can do it to the enemy.
Reinhardt can charge the enemy mech that's exploding and like carry it away to like save his team or something.
Mordog can pull it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't pull teammates.
Suicide mission, though, I think.
Yeah, I think there might be some folks out there that watch that don't realize that the ult is the damage actually deteriorates the further you get from it too, right? It's not like a straight 1,000 damage if it's just visible.
We talked about we had no had no idea.
It like kills you though in most classes, so it's just like whatever.
Yeah, that's why most people think that though, is because they just think that, oh, if I'm visible, I'm just dead.
Well, where it matters is it doesn't destroy Reinhardt's shield because his shield is 2,000 health.
Well, but that doesn't matter how far away he is, right? But generally speaking, I definitely have seen a lot more people just shooting it in the air, right, just to get a more spherical type of perimeter. But
it lasts so long, it usually lands anyway.
If it's in the air, does it do anything to the detriment of it being on the ground? Like if it's on the ground versus in the air, is there any difference?
No. I mean, it's just harder to line of sight at when it's in the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just didn't know if there was like, oh well, what about people like on a roof?
It would get them if it blew up there, but it's never going to blow up.
Yeah, but would it get the person on the roof and the person on the ground?
Yeah,
it's a spherical thing. Yeah.
How do spheres work?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure this one out.
Hey, new meta.
Go shoot Hanzo's his recon arrow, shoot that into a wall, and watch how it expands. And imagine that's a sphere. That's what that is.
New meta.
So the cannon, what do you think of it? Is the cannon appropriate? I think the actual stats on the cannon are what I think 1/2 to 3 damage per pellet. I think that's what the official DPS
it's
is.
Better. I still see a lot of people saying like, I wish they'd buff her damage, because that's like day one. I haven't played this character reaction that I had as well. But the way you can chase people down and just relentlessly keep hitting them in the head, because you're usually like you're looking down at everyone because you're a giant mech.
Yeah,
it's pretty damn good.
What about like a cooldown period? Do you think that she needs like not necessarily a reload, but
right?
Like you can't fire for more than 5 to 10 seconds because you'll burn out or something.
Well, she does walk while she shoots and slow down, which I think is
she already kind of has that as like a nerf. You can get away from her because if she's shooting you, like she can't move, so you can just walk away, kind of. But you know,
she moves at a really
slow rate. Doesn't like shut her down necessarily because she'll just boost at you again in a couple seconds. But it gives you more options. I mean, the thing with her is like headshotting her is like very effective, and it's kind of easy to do when she's like facing you. But it's also like awkward because I don't feel like there's not that many things that like abuse her that well, especially in the current meta. It's like the best things to headshot her are like Hanzo or Widow, except that she kind of like destroys, like Widow by getting on her. It's one of the reasons after the Widow nerf, I think Widow's still viable and a lot of teams aren't running her. I think in EU some of the teams are, but part of the reason why is also because like when Hubris ran her, we just ran the Divas and like destroyed Widow. Like this past weekend, we didn't run the Divas as much, just in a couple points where we really needed the mobility. We didn't really run it full time as much. Like we used Winston some more because there's more Pharahs in the sky, and Winston's shield kind of helps protect those. Although Diva can get on the Pharah pretty decently too, so she's still good there. But yeah, I mean there aren't that many things that like abuse her. Like a lot of the tank counters, like Reaper. I mean, Reaper does really well against her still. Like Reaper or like Roadhog shoot like pellet guns that are really mitigated by armor, right? She has tons of armor, so it's kind of like awkward.
She doesn't have. I feel like a lot of times what counters her is 2 people rather than one direct counter. Like you need this and this.
It is true, especially because when she's shooting, she's like very immobile, so it's very easy to just focus her basically.
Yeah,
like she doesn't. It's kind of like Roadhog. Roadhog's like powerful, but if you have 2 people shooting him, he kind of dies really quickly. He doesn't have like armor or mitigation. He's really good like 1v1 and stuff, but
I guess to maybe Ster's point, is there a single character counter to Diva? Like there's usually you can call out different characters a lot of times when you're trying to counter somebody, but with Diva, is there a specific character you would just like single-handedly counter her with?
No, not really.
I think that's
part of it's just the mobility. Tough. It's really hard to counter like super mobile characters because just like Tracer, like how do you counter Tracer? You can't really counter Tracer. You just kind of have to deal with Tracer.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's just because of the mobility. Like even if you're, McCree can stun her and one-shot her, but even if you hit the stun, like she can teleport out or whatever, before you kill her half the time, unless you hit some headshots. So, it's kind of like that in a lot of ways, I think.
Is there a certain character or a certain ability you'd like to see in one of the classifications of characters right now? Like, is there a support ability or a tank ability you'd like to see, or
just to specifically counter Diva?
Well, not to counter Diva, but just generally right now that you feel like is missing.
I mean, I think there should be like more supports that are more viable. I kind of want to see like a support that has like a hit scan gun that kind of just does chip damage to like help shoot down things like Pharah or something, or I don't know, maybe add a little long range damage. But I'm not sure what the rest of the kit would have.
I've wanted something like a Crusader's crossbow where you get to shoot people and heal them. That would be fun. It's like the only type of healing that Jerma brought this up last week, where they've kind of have all the supports, the base supports, but like 4 is for like one of the most important classes to be picking. Only picking Mercy is kind of a disappointment.
I mean, the problem is like if you're Mercy or Lucio, you're doing like 5,000 to like 8,000, 9,000 healing a game.
Yeah.
And none of the other supports can come close. Like Zenyatta has healing, but he doesn't really do the same thing. And the thing with Zenyatta also is that like I always feel like Zenyatta is viable when we play a lot of teams, and then when we play like Hubris, I don't, because it's just like they kill you so much better than everyone else we play. And
I've seen
Symmetra
drop
very,
off.
very hard.
Are you seeing any Symmetra at all? Like for a while, I think people were using it, like the whole like, oh, maybe we can get a teleport and hold this point. But I don't even think people have been trying to do that. People
still use it, but like since the first week, I don't think us or Hubris really ever thought it was like that viable, like on anything really, because it's like you're, I don't know, like this weird snowball like risk hero, or where you're like saying that okay, we're just so much better than the other team that we're gonna win like 5.5 v6. And then get a teleporter and just like dumpster them basically with the teleporter.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that's bringing Zenyatta down, because he's good with the 200 health, but you're never going to have a Symmetra and a Zenyatta on your team to.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And a Torbjorn to throw him armor. Sure, why not? That's going to be a team.
What's disappointing to me is not that there's not enough supports right now, is that we've been explicitly told that no other characters are coming into the game for, the 21 heroes, 21 heroes, 21 heroes. So I think that's more disappointing to me. Is not necessarily.
You're gonna get hyped when they show you the new one.
Well, no, I mean, but it's like the 4 supports. I mean, we can all sit here and be like, oh, I can't wait for a new way on getting one.
I mean, it was really annoying at BlizzCon. They released 3 new heroes. They had 5 in every role except for support. Before BlizzCon, and they didn't release like a new support at BlizzCon. The other thing with the supports too is that like Symmetra's incredibly niche. Like even if she was viable, she'd still only be viable mostly on defense, where the teleporter is like super good on first points, and she'd mostly be viable on first point defense. But like right now she has so many problems with her. It's just like, I guess they've said that, is she one of the ones that they might rework, kind of like Torbjorn and Bastion? I think they might, but there's always all that talk about how she's like the #1 win rate, and again she was #1 win rate, so
yeah, they posted that image, right?
Winning in pubs compared to like a structured team, like you're
totally different.
I feel like she has the highest win rate because there's one person that has the light bulb go up above their head and is like, I can counter these bastions, and no one else understands how to defeat at low level here. Like
shooting through
what she counters and what she does, like rarely. It's so situational. The 50 health
on that list, like the Torbjorn like win rate on that list is like, well, didn't they already just explain that the reason why Torbjorn is it's new players don't really understand, or they don't really do well against the Torbjorn or Bastion?
Walk out into the turret and die instantly, and they're like, "This is OP."
On the other side, do very well. Yeah, it's weird. I'm just disappointed that we can talk about support heroes and what they can add and what they can't add, but it's been officially stated that we aren't getting any new heroes until, at the very least, until after the game is released. And to me, I find that to be a massive mistake.
Well,
that's my opinion.
I mean, I don't know. It's
they can still rebalance stuff. I mean, it's not that they might not be new heroes, but they can redesign, rebalance existing characters.
It's really awkward though, because like they say they don't want anyone to be like required, basically. But like, I mean, maybe in pubs that's true, but that's because like the level of play isn't very high. But it's like right now, it's like Lucio, Mercy kind of are required. Like their healing is.
Is it too strong? Is the healing just too strong?
The healing has to be strong because you die in one hit anyway.
I know, right? Okay.
I mean, it's created this a weird dynamic that a lot of people don't like. I always think it's interesting because a lot of people act like headshots are this thing like designed for pro players and things like that. But most of the pro players, like even like the Quake players or whatever, who you think would be like these godly skilled players who would love headshots because they can hit them all the time. like don't like headshots in the game because it's almost random. Like even if you're hitting them at a higher percentage than other people, it's still like one-shotting people a lot of the time.
I
Makes
love
the game random and fights random, and it's like frustrating. The time to kill is like super. It's low. It's very low in this game.
I love the McCree right clicks where one of them just happened to hit them in the head, and that's like.
What do you mean? It's the
so
shooting pattern, man.
I mean, often like with McCree, you just mid-range right click because you know you land 2 headshots, you kill like anyone, even from mid-range or something, and it happens like.
I want to ask. I mean, because you play, you're very competitive. You're a very good player. Do you think headshots should be in